Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
What's shaking?
Not much. Just another lovely day in the neighborhood.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
Just realized our daughter, who's in grade 12, doesn't know how to hold a pencil, apparently.
Yeah, and I don't like how she was throwing shade at us like it was our fault. Like, dude, do you know how many things we've tried to teach you over the years that you flat out refused to learn?
Totally.
I 100% chalk this up to she was just palming it for years and never listened to us. So you get what you get.
Because as soon as we give her feedback, she goes stiff. I know. And now she's being made fun of it by her peers.
But that's a great topic. We can go to that. Where does parenting end and you just let peer mocking take over? Because at some point it's just better to be like, you know what? Society will sort that out.
That's a good topic.
Right. Like is 70% of being a parent just wasted time? Send them out in the world. The world loves to eat up weirdos.
Actually, in one of my, what presentation was it? I do a lot of workshops and presentations. I can't remember which one it was, but one of the things I said was reinforcement. One of the best reinforcements in the classroom is the peers, right? So engaging them in work or whatever, knowing that their piece, it's kind of like group work, but not, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember the context. I can't remember the exact example, but I do just remember they are more likely to follow through and do their good work and, be engaged when they have that peer.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be made fun of by their peer group.
Yeah.
Nobody.
So, and it's true. I think, some things that's minor enough that whatever, she can figure it out. Same thing with clothing. Remember, she used to dress herself, and I can't even describe to you how terrible and clashing the outfits were.
There were some misses. For sure, there were some
layers
misses.
Upon layers. Like she would just add layers upon layers of tacky colors. And
I can't say anything now, though, because she herself says, "Oh, I just dress like you," meaning me. So if I hate on it, it's like, ooh, I gotta be careful.
Yeah.
But she does. She dresses like middle-aged man a lot of days.
But she did learn somewhere along the way
to coordinate colors like a middle-aged man. Yeah. The fact that she wears a Pabst Blue Ribbon beer sweatshirt to school and no one's called her on it is just amazing to me.
Yeah.
But
she wears her mom jeans. She hates that we call them mom jeans.
Yeah, but that's a fashion thing these days. Like, not to Grandpa Simpson it too much, but kids these days, they're bringing back some of the poor choices we made and they're acting like they're revolutionary. I'm like, dude, there's nothing cool about what you're doing. There wasn't anything cool when we did it.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything cool when we stole it from our parents. And I don't know why you think these ones that ride all the way up past your navel and I know. I'm like, so one of them was looking at cords. I'm like, I wish I just didn't get rid of my clothes from when I was a kid. We would save ourselves so much money. You would be so fashionable because I can't wait though until the Jenko jeans come back and they're going to act like they're revolutionary. That's going to be amazing.
What are the Jenko jeans?
Those are skater ones or the e-goth ones that were just huge legs, like not even bell bottoms, just they were like the width of a sewage pipe on each leg. And these weirdos would walk around like they were awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see that.
Well, there's been quite a few things. I'm like, I wore that when I was a kid. Even her glasses I wore in 1982, like the big frame.
Yeah, I can't knock it because I've got like Buddy Holly style thick ones.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
But I like when I wear my glasses in my head, I'm like, I'm not trying to be a professor. I'm more like when the Hulk wears his glasses because they just don't fit on your head no matter what. So you might as well just pick ones that are like, look at that big tree wearing glasses. That's what I go for.
Anyways, should we get on to the part 2 of
Let's do this.
The unspoiling our children.
Let's do this.
Okay. So hopefully everyone's listened to the first part.
If you haven't, stop now. Go back to last episode last episode. Hit play on that. And then when you get here, you're like, oh my God, I've already learned so much. I can't wait to finish it off and then pick it up from here.
And hopefully you've already started identifying some of the patterns where you could, you might be falling into that lead to entitlement and.
Because as we've said before, it's important to remember that it's every parent's fault all the time.
definitely true in our house. Our kids are always saying it's our fault for everything. Apparently now, not her not having a proper pencil grip.
Yeah, but I don't hear any thanks about her literacy. No. Who taught her to read? We did. Mm. But I bet if we watched her, and I've never paid attention, I bet she holds books weird too. And that's our fault.
But I taught her quadratic equations.
Yeah, I'm tapping out.
And log, right? Like she's like, I have no idea what log means. And then I explained it to her. She's like, oh my gosh, it's just like exponents. Like it's exactly like
you're talking about that.
And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, well, you're welcome. See, I can teach. They got to be open to hearing it, I guess. Okay, so the next thing on the list is it's something we've actually talked about a lot on this podcast, but it's not rescuing our kids from when they make mistakes or experience setbacks.
Yep, don't do it.
Anything else to say about that?
No, I mean, I don't want to dredge up what we've talked about in the past, but I mean, we were just talking about this the other day.
Yeah. Oh, dogs.
How was your walk? How was your walk?
Their 2-minute walk.
How was your walk? Okay, thanks for coming in. All right. Yeah, I think more so than even rescuing, what I'm noticing is just in there are parents. Again, everything is parents' fault. So frame this episode how you want. But even small things that don't require rescuing, I see more and more parents doing, right? And to me, that's a gateway drug to rescue when they don't need it.
Yeah.
Things like, and I'll just say it, the amount of people that I still see tying their kids' skates when we go to the rink for practice is mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. These are kids that are expected to be able to take the bus to school, do their thing in junior high, buy their own lunches, do their own things. Some of them have started to work. Like we've got ours and others that are babysitting and taking on all this responsibility. And their parents are still advocating, not even advocating, but in no way trying to move them on to being independent enough to take care of themselves in the simplest of things like tying their skates. Rationalizing everyone, because I know there's a parent listening to this is like, well, I still tie my kids' skates because it's too hard for them. Yeah. Here's the follow-up question. When does it become easier if you're the one that always does it? It doesn't. It doesn't. And it only gets worse when they're 17 holding a pencil wrong and their friends are making fun of them, right? It's the same mentality that I 100% think that we have to actively look for situations, not to cause our kids hardship, but to offer them the chance to try. Try and see if you can do it. I'll help you if you can't, but just try, right? Try and see if you can get yourself out of this situation. Right? Try and see if when you're stuck in a bad situation, you can figure out a way to ask for help. There's a ton of opportunities that's swooping in and just dealing with it. Sure, it's easier because you don't have to listen to them for the 5 or 10 minutes as they fake struggle through this horrific event. But at the end of it, I can't even remember. The only times that Willow has come to me and asked me to tie her skate was when she had an injury. She's like, I need you to tie it because I can't tie this section and avoid. Cool, I can help with that. Because I know 99.9% of the time, I don't see those skates on her feet until she's on the ice.
Yeah.
Right. And she has to learn, does she like them tighter? Does she like them looser? Are they the right ones? Does she, and we went through a whole stage where I warned the coaches, she's going to come to you and say that her skates aren't right. Don't retie them. If she comes to the bench, let her figure it out. Yeah. And I would look over and inevitably one of the coaches would be retying her skates. I'm like, please don't do that. Right. Let her figure it out on her own. Oh, but she said, I get it. She'd also say we don't feed her if there was pizza in front of her. And I said she couldn't have it, right? Like you gotta take it with a grain of salt. So I think, not to beat a dead horse, but absolutely you need to actively look for opportunities to let them rescue themselves while being near enough. It's no different than being in the pool. Yeah. Don't let your kid get this far away from you because then you can't help them if they truly need it. But the rest of the time, why do you need to be holding them? Let them figure out how to swim. Right. But just keep an arm's length that if you need to snatch them up before they go under, great, you're there. Yeah. Same principle.
And sitting with big emotions, right? Like if they lose a game or if they're not picked for the school play or they're rejected by a crush or whatever, we want to swoop in and tell them, oh, it's okay. And oh, you're this. And we give them all these excuses and all of those things. But we want to validate and support. We're not going to tell them, suck it up. Like we're going to be there. Man, that sucks. Oh, that hurts. Oh, so disappointing, right? That adjective.
Yep.
labeling it, but we're going to sit in it. We're not going to try to take it away. They're not going to listen to you anyways. They're just going to say, you're not listening. Or if they don't say it, they're going to feel like you're not listening.
Yeah, you don't get it. You don't understand what I mean. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So it's just creating that space. Like, what a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
That's really disappointing. That's really hard. I've been doing that with Willow a lot this week. There's just so much going on. I'm like, man, this is really hard. It's tough being a kid. I could have gone in with all sorts of, advice giving or ways to fix it.
And that's all she needs is for someone to tell her that it's okay. Like, yeah, man, that sucks. Like, that's
all kids
huge.
need
Yeah.
is just that validation. They don't, unless they say, I need help fixing this, right? And even then, if they do, it's well, what do you think?
Yeah.
Right? Let's collaborate. Let's brainstorm together. We're going to ask an open-ended question. Taking accountability if they miss, a deadline for a scholarship. Man, that's a bummer.
Man, that's going to mean a lot more hours at your job, I guess.
Yeah, we're just kind of going through that right now. Or if they don't hand in their homework or they miss a test, it's like, well, how are you going to figure it out? What are you going to do? Right.
And present options, like using the homework thing, right? Like we happened to coincide with parent teacher conference and we came away with ideas to present. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to drive her to school and force her to go in and do the thing. It's like, hey, here's what we've heard that you're being offered to do it. Be responsible or be ready for the consequences.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, in this particular child,
not naming any names, but we only have two,
is looking at potentially having to redo this class. She's like, there's no way I'm ever going to redo this class. But, and she's still not. We're December
5th,
6th, whatever. And the semester is almost over and she's still not gone in for help, even though it's been offered, right? But
repeatedly.
I mean, we can take the horse to the water.
So I'm gonna own up and I'm gonna take responsibility for this. Anytime the children are learning something the hard way, I'm just gonna give you a blanket apology because I know which parent they got that from. I'm not gonna point fingers or call it out, but I'm pretty comfortable in apologizing up front for that because one of us, I am not naming any names, learns things the hard way too.
Yeah. So, but it's being able to own up to it and be like, okay. And even if she does fail, okay, what could have I done differently? What can I do? What did I learn from this mistake? And this is the key piece, right? It's not just about minimizing that entitlement. This is key, like letting them sit in it and experience these feelings and these events. It helps with their emotion regulation in the future as well. So there's so many skills that are built in and the resilience and
the resilience is a big piece. I think the resilience is a big piece because I don't think a lot of kids are given the opportunity to develop a dislike for disappointment. Right. And that can be a very big motivator. And so I think in a way you're robbing, not always, obviously, but there are opportunities where letting them be angry, letting them be mad, letting them be really sad will give them the skills and the drive to not experience that again. Right. And know, well, if I want to be better at this, I better go be better at it. Right. Or if I want a different result, I better go do it. And it's not that you have to spell it out. It's not that you have to have these big lessons, but losing sucks. And so you need to let your kids lose to understand how much it sucks.
So that they also know the pride in winning and achieving. Because we know they don't know happiness if they don't have sadness either.
And how many times have we seen a decent result that has been framed as a complete failure for whatever reason? It's like, well, oh yeah, I guess you've always gotten something. So why would this be a much bigger deal that you got this now? Right. And there's tons of different examples, but I think it's important to really fail. And perfect example is Willow over the past few seasons. She's had a couple tough seasons, and like last year was a losing season. I don't think she won more than 2 games. And it was awful. She hated it. She hated losing. She hated going to the rink. She hated her teammates sometimes. She hated the whole experience. Right? You cut to this year where she has shown an improvement and a bigger effort and is trying to put stuff together and is holding herself more accountable and frankly judging her teammates to be more accountable as well. And they're seeing better results. And already her whole appreciation for the wins, right, is huge. And it's funny. I don't know if anybody even watches this, but there's a show called Shoresy. I've explained it to you before, the Letterkenny spinoff. there's one thing he talks about. They frame a whole season. The whole first season, I think, is based on the fact that the team that they had at the beginning of the season, it's not that they love winning, it's that they don't hate losing. Right. And so he puts together a team that hates losing more than they love winning. And so it drives them to be fantastic. And it's this weirdly backwards logic, but it makes sense, right? You have to truly hate the poor result to be able to focus on the result you want, right?
That's totally going to take us off topic, but I have done a lot of work. I mean, this was years ago. I've taken it out of my presentations just because I think it's an added element that people don't pick up on. But one of them, when I look at engaging students, because that's one of the talks that I talk about, some people do look for the achievement, but some are motivated by the failure. That's my thing. When I was doing my PhD, it wasn't what's kept me in the game wasn't to get my PhD. I joked about now people will have to call me doctor, but I really don't. I feel weird when people do. It was about the regret of not finishing and the pain of that. And so, same thing with losing weight. Some people are motivated when they think of themselves in that beautiful, perfect body. But other people, and again, I'm more of the pain person. I'm more terrified of being obese and 500 pounds. So that motivates me to work out every morning, right? So we got to pick, like some kids are more about the pain versus whatever that is. I think it's a whole other topic, but
it is that I'm most definitely motivated by not failing or not getting in trouble or not, you know what I mean? More because anytime something good happens to me, I immediately deflect and it's someone else's and hey, that was great. I couldn't have done it with, it's the same at work. Oh, you did a great job. Oh, I couldn't have done it without the team.
I wonder where Willow gets it from. Although I'm the exact same way. But you said this weekend, like she played great and she got the Heart and Hustle Award and she totally downplayed it.
But she downplayed it in a way where she downplayed the accomplishment. I downplay my role in the accomplishment. There's a difference, right? So she listens to this. I hope she's okay that we're talking about this, but what it was she had wanted the Heart and Hustle all season. Yeah. And she's been sick for the better part of a month and missed a lot. And then
it dislocated shoulder.
Dislocated her shoulder and hurt her finger and still came out and worked her tail off. And they gave it to her. And rather than being excited that she got it, her response was, well, they had nobody else to give it to. That's different than when I won't take the accolades. I will pass them on. But I'll recognize the accomplishment, if that makes sense. She downplayed the accomplishment so that she could shove it off to the side as not being worth it or whatever you want. It was a different, I see what you're saying, but it was a slightly different thing, right? And mine is more, mine is always more the failure piece.
Well, regardless, we need them to feel all those big emotions. And so, it's okay for them to fail. Yeah. We don't want to set them up for failure, but we're not.
Unless it's funny.
But we do want them to be able to learn from those. Yeah. So that leads to the next one. Expect and accept that your child will be upset with you. They're going to be angry or disappointed with you at times, or, like going back to last week, we talked about boundary setting, for example. They might not like it. It's not about being best friends. It's not about being popular, essentially, is what it is, right?
So I'll counter that with my own question of, is that even an option? Because I didn't realize having them be a fan of me was an option. I thought it was primarily I annoyed them or I made them do stuff they didn't want. So there is a path number 2 I could take,
I suppose. Well, and I do see it a lot of times. And I won't go into it, but people at the rink, I remember the one example that I talked with you about. I'm like, I cannot believe how that kid is talking to the mother. And the mother's like, oh, well, sweetie, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, no, child, you don't like. But I do see that because parents are worried about their attachment with their children. And so they are more, I don't want to say laissez-faire because they are involved. I would say overprotective, but they're never, it just goes back to those boundaries. That's why you need to listen to part 1 if you haven't, going back to those boundaries, right? And rules and expectations. Like it's just about be a good human being, right? You've talked about that
so much. Don't be a dick.
Exactly.
And you're right, because I think it's important to differentiate. It's okay for you to be, it's okay for you to make the decision your child needs if it's for the right reasons,
Yeah.
right? And you already touched on it. It's not that I want them to fail, but in allowing them to do whatever they want, sometimes I am failing them. I am setting them up for failure later. So I'm essentially pushing out the failure so I don't have to deal with it in the moment, when really those smaller I hate yous usually go away by bedtime, right?
Have they ever said that to us?
No, but I'm using it as an example.
Yeah, no, a lot of kids will say
yeah, right. Like, so the outburst or the pushback or the you're so mean or whatever, we try and balance it, and most definitely we annoy them, right? And we get on their case, and and we hate having those conversations just as much as they do. But there's an importance to it, right? Because those every time, this is going to over romanticize it. Every time we get that eye roll or that pushback or that exaggerated fine, I see that as a brick in the foundation of who they're going to become, right? Like, because they don't like that they have to do it, but by getting them to do it, they understand that it's a necessary thing. It has to be done. And there are things in life that just have to be done.
Yeah.
You don't have to hate them. You don't have to love them, but they still got to get done. Right. And so trying to show them the outcome of that, of I'm telling you to unload the dishwasher because here's the net effect to the rest of us, right? You don't think the house is that clean, and yet it starts right here, right? Help us with this, and the rest of it comes, blah, 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 whatever it is. You can't do that. And I've been frustrated enough lately that I need to take a step back, because I am just doing it to get it done because I'm tired of the fight. But I know I'll reset. And, this morning, are you going outside to pick up poo? Oh, it's unfortunate it's dark, but it's a lot brighter at 3:00 when you get home when you could have done it.
Yeah.
Go, right? Those are things that they need to have, because those are your boundaries. Exactly what you said. There are things that they need to learn how to do. And I know I'm not going to be popular, but get it done.
Yeah.
And then read the situation to know when there's pushback, genuine need for a break from something, right? Because the biggest thing for us, and we've talked about the rink before already today, but I'm always if you've made a commitment, you should see it through, right? Unless you can't for a real reason, you should always go, right? And there was some rough patches last year where both girls were burnt out. They didn't want to go to the rink. They didn't want to practice. They didn't want to this. Normally I would have been like, well, that sucks for you. Let's go. But it was in the moment, you and I talking about it, it was more of a realization of, okay, for their own mental health, this isn't them being lazy. This is, they need a break. They need
one
a
of them
breather.
was on 3 or 4 teams, was losing her hair.
Yeah, like it was
so
a lot.
Much, yeah.
And it's so reading, and everything comes down to pay attention to the situation before you act.
Yeah.
Right? Really read the situation, and then weigh the pros and cons of what you feel you need to do, because maybe that's not the time you need to dig your heels in.
Totally.
But explain to them why next time they got to see it through, right?
It's better to have those conversations collaboratively, proactively, and maybe not now, right? Like, let it cool down and be like, hey, kiddo, I've noticed we've really been fighting a lot about poo. Let's sit down and figure this out, or whatever it is.
Dog poo. And we're not a weird family. We have dogs. Just to clarify.
Picking up dog poo. So we want to still allow them to voice their frustrations, of course, right? That's part of being assertive. That's part of conflict management. And it's important. The worst relationships, whether it's with parent-child or siblings or spouses or colleagues, is when we shove our feelings down and we are never allowed to voice our opinion.
Yeah.
Right. And that's terrible. Like, that's just toxic. And so we want them to be able to validate, or them to be able to share, and we validate, not saying, well, if you just picked up the dog poo, we wouldn't be having, I think parents will go there. And
I've gone there.
So that's the piece. So expect them to be mad at us and be able to validate. That's another great opportunity for us to practice our co-regulation and them feeling safe to be able to share those behaviors. So, we want them to be able to have their voice heard. I'm working with a family right now, actually, where, the therapist thinks it's important for the kiddos to be able to share their opinions and feelings in the family, but one of the parents doesn't feel like that's a good idea because of the pushback they're going to get from the other parent, right? That they're going to get in trouble. They're going to be yelled at if they voice their opinion. I'm just like, heartbroken, because we want kids to know, even if we don't like what they've got to say, their voice matters just as much as ours.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's an important skill that you don't see a lot of adults demonstrating to other adults.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the discourse, the behavior that you see with people in society, a lot of it stems from that inability to understand that a difference of opinion doesn't necessarily mean that that person hates you or that you hate them. Like, it's okay to not be on the same page and respect the person, maybe not so much the statement, but to understand where it's coming from and work with it, right? It's that gray area and a completely different soapbox. But we as a society suck at living in a gray area anymore. We've been conditioned and taught that it's black or white. If you're a liberal, you're an idiot, right? If you like the NDP, you're such a tool. If you're conservative and you like the UCP or whoever, you're this bigoted person. There's nuances to it, right? There's aspects to it. But everybody needs to validate their own opinion by making sure that the other person's is so invalidated as to never be taken serious. And that's just not a way to survive. I've got friends that have a completely different stance on things than me, but they're still my friends, right? It's important for parents to demonstrate the ability to disagree, but still respect and love the other person.
Yeah.
It's that in itself is a whole different conversation, because ask yourself, do you want your kid to grow up to be exactly like you? No parent in the world should.
No.
Because that is such an arrogant approach to, I am perfect and I am without reproach. Why wouldn't I want my child to be exactly the same? No. Your kid is growing up in a different time with different influences and different pressures and all these things that you didn't have to deal with. And frankly, you inherited bad stuff from your parents that you're going to pass down now. Like, why would you not want to start with a clean slate of, I'm a different person doing my best job to raise you in a way that I think is going to be beneficial to you. And I understand that we're not always going to be on the same page, but it doesn't change the fact that I love you and I'm going to support you. And sometimes that support is going to suck. You're not going to like it, but I'm still going to support you from a place of not needing to win. That's the other thing.
That's the piece.
Right? I don't need to win this situation. Winning to me with my kids is, we've said it before, they want to come home. They want to hang out with us. They feel safe here. They feel that they can talk about things. I think some of the things they do, so stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid. But it's like, whatever. I've given you my opinion. Go out in the world and see how that treats you, right? Hold that pencil however you want. But I don't come at it from a perspective of, well, I'm going to show her, right? If she had just listened to me, because it's no different than the opinion that if you don't think your kids should have a better life than you had, why the F did you have kids? Why? If you think people coming behind you should have it as tough or worse than you, that's not helping them. That's you being a bad person.
But then conversely, there's parents who are like, I don't want to be that parent that I had. I want to give them everything that I didn't have. But then it swings so far the other way that now we've got these entitled.
But again, it's because they're trying to go to absolutes. They're trying to go from black to white. And what they need to be is gray and malleable and fluid. And frankly, engaged with who their kid is, not who they want their kid to be.
Yes.
Right? Like,
so true.
Like, if you look at the kids we're raising, they're not the kids I thought they were, right? They're awesome kids. They're their own individuals. They have bits of you. They have bits of me. They have bits of dust that fell into it because I don't understand what they're thinking. I don't know what's mixed in there, but my job isn't to make carbon copies of me. My job is to give them as much knowledge and insight that I've learned so they can make what they feel is the best decision. And when that's not the best decision, give them a place to come back to regroup and go back out there.
And figure it out. And I mean, we can try to instill an influence. Like I know we've talked about like healthy eating habits. We can expose them to those opportunities, but we can't stop them when they go to a birthday party from eating a hot dog or a Slurpee or whatever. Same thing with values. We can instill them, but they're going to adopt their own values and beliefs along the way, right?
We can demonstrate what we feel is ideal. But again, we could be wrong, right? Like, one of my favorite examples you've ever used is you came home from the hospital in like a laundry basket on the floor of the car. Yeah. That was honestly what your parents thought was the best at the time, right? That's obviously not the best, right? So what we think is the best at the time might not be, but it's okay to admit later on in retrospective, hey, that was a total misstep. We shouldn't have done that, right? But work through it, right? I've never, and we've talked about this again before, but I've never seen my parents as these perfect beings, right? Like, my parents were never on a pedestal to me. And I don't want to be on a pedestal to my kids either, because that tells me that I've created a distance between me and them, right? Yeah. I don't need to be their best friend. I don't need to be buddy. I'm happy we are. I'm happy we can hang out and enjoy hanging out with each other. But I also understand that they don't want to hang out with their dad. They want to go hang out with their friends. Cool, right? I don't need, but at the flip side, I don't want them to be scared of me or feel that they can't approach me. And I think a lot of parents don't realize that's the path they're on.
Yeah.
And then wonder why, it's the old cliche of the kids don't call, right? You're by yourself or whatever. I don't want that, right? I want my kids when they can to want to be around us.
And I think they do. Like they do just hang out all the time. And yeah, we're lucky that way.
No, we're rad.
We are rad, yes. Next one, can we move on?
Yeah,
because I think there's so much that we can always talk about. Reinforces values like community and teamwork. So part of it is household chores, volunteer work, acts of kindness, those kind of things. Being considerate.
We've kind of touched on it already in a few different ways. I think, yes, we've had bigger conversations now that the kids are older around their effect on our little community, our household, right? The things you do have an effect on the rest of the family. Mm-hmm. And it's not that you got to love it, but you got to do it, right? And and we've talked about already in this podcast I'm a huge proponent of don't be a dick, right? Like, and it's funny coming from me because I'm very sarcastic, right? I can be judgmental in the moment, but as a whole, I try very much not to be, right? I try very much to be available to help people if they need it, or to point out to the kids opportunities for where they could themselves potentially help someone, right? Because it comes back to, there's enough people in the world that are angry for no reason. I don't need to raise kids like that. But every action has an effect.
And I think we've done things like the acts of kindness. Like if we go to the grocery store, I'll ask the clerk, teller, or whoever's bringing our groceries.
The peasant behind the till?
No.
Oh, sorry. That's not what you're going for?
But whoever works at the grocery store, what their favorite chocolate bar is, and then I'll buy it for them, right? So we'll do that. You have always, if we see someone, walking when we're stopped at a red light, someone asking for money,
if I got it, it goes to them.
Like we will roll down our window and we will give them money. So we show those little acts of kindness. Both of our girls have started volunteering and they've shown great. Well, you with your cat cuddling. Oh, I get to make fun of you with your cat cuddling now.
Go for it. You can't make fun of me. Those cats were cute.
Make fun of you, but Andrew is cat cuddling. I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either until we started looking. Willow wanted to find opportunities to volunteer at animal shelters, and one of the ones for the Calgary residents, it's called Positive Match, and it allows you to line up with pet stores in the city, and you go play and take care of the cats for a certain amount of time every day or week or whatever you want. So yeah, we get to go cuddle with cats, Tupac and Cardi B.
And Maya was doing reading with kids, just literacy stuff. And they both found, our brain can't tell the difference between someone doing something nice for us and us doing something nice for them. So it's just good. It's good pro-social. We're talking about emotion regulation, executive functioning. This is it. This is building the pro-social emotions. It's strengthening our emotional brain for these pro-social emotions.
And teaching them the ability to have empathy for others.
Totally.
Right. And one of our favorites is coming up soon.
Yes, over the holidays, on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day, yeah.
We go to the fire halls and deliver goodies.
It's honestly like bringing dog treats to a bunch of golden retrievers and watching them jump around.
Yeah.
And even the old gruff firefighters get super stoked about free candy.
Yeah. It's so cute.
Yeah.
I like it when they're clearly in the gym working out and come to the door.
Yeah, there's probably you're getting a little bit more out of it than I am.
No, I'm just teasing, but it fills them with those pro-social emotions, acts of kindness, and it takes them away from the focus on me and what about my share. And I know the first time we did it, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
I'm in my pajamas. I'm like, we can wear our pajamas, but nobody wanted to leave the house because they wanted to do their own thing on Christmas Day. It was their one day. And let's just go do this thing. And now they love it. They're always thinking about what can we do for others.
And they're huge about trying to make sure that there's enough kids, treats for us to take. For any of our friends out there that are on the CPS, on the Calgary Police Service, feel free to let your colleagues know. They'd get the same treatment too if they were a little bit nicer to us when we came by. Because we tried it.
And they were gruff and mean, and
we were worried about getting I was going to say get tased, but that's inappropriate.
We just decided not to.
Okay.
Last but not least, we should probably get going on. Refrain from shaming them.
Hard pass.
Making them feel ashamed
Hard
when
pass.
they're entitled, it's not going to be helpful.
So, okay. All kidding aside, are there degrees of shaming? Because I think a little shame sometimes is good.
Oh, I think experiencing the feeling of shame. And there's this whole thing right now. I love Brene Brown. I love Brene Brown.
Who's she?
Not going to go down this path too much, but she talks about the difference between feeling guilt and shame, right? And guilt is like the behavior. I should have done something different, but shame is about who I am, right? I feel bad about myself.
Oh, situational versus internal.
Yeah, but there's another woman. I'm not going to get into this. Maybe, you know what? This will be a different topic. Okay. But I do think being able to feel shame is important. All emotions are important, but I don't want to make them feel like, just as we wouldn't set them up to fail, we're going to be there when they do fail and learn from that experience. Same thing here. We're not going to, put them down, because they need to feel that unconditional positive regard, that we love them no matter what their behaviors, even no matter what they say, or,
Yeah.
And so
don't follow behind them with a huge bell yelling shame over and over again, like the Game of Thrones scene.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. That's an interesting one, because I wouldn't. Shame is a different one. Shame is not one that everything's framed as guilt, which you're right. It separates them from the act, right? Well, that's interesting. I've never really stopped to think about the difference between it, but
maybe we'll go into that. I think, because I would love to dig into that, but I just think that's a different whole episode.
Part 3,
maybe
part 2B,
maybe
to be continued. To see what's going there. Boom. Yeah, I think. I won't expand on it. If we're gonna talk about it separately, I won't expand on it too greatly. But it's an interesting premise for sure, because it's not one that I've never tried to make them experience shame, so it's not one that I would have seen as a tool, right, good or bad. But it does really prompt a huge different question.
I think sometimes we dig, like sometimes maybe we don't think that we're shaming. Not we, you and I. Although I have, when early on, I know that I fell into this trap.
Well, you used to rub you used to rub the kids' faces in like their dirty diapers and stuff. That was weird.
No, but I would dig like that was wrong, and they're like, I know, and they would just like walk away like they're not listening, and we just beat them over the head with the same lecture or whatever they did wrong or lesson or whatever, right, over and over. I think that a lot of parents do that because they're not getting the response that they are hoping for. I don't know.
Which is an interesting point, because ask yourself, what is the response you're going for? Like, in chirping at your kids, do you think they're going to be like all of a sudden, oh my God, thank you for teaching me. I can't believe. No, they're never going to do that. They're going to get annoyed, or they're going to shut down and be upset. Those are your two options. No kid is ever going to be like, man, I'm really glad you brought that to my attention. I'll work on that. It's just not going to happen. So as a parent, it's a great question of, what's the point? What are you trying to accomplish with the behavior you're about to inflict on your kid? Right? Because you're either going to create fear or resentment for the most part.
Yeah.
And is that what you're going for? Probably not. But you'll use the same tactics to try and get there and wonder why the kid doesn't respond the way you want. Great question.
Or they start internalizing it, and I'm bad and I'm shameful, and I'm,
And then you're picking them up at the cop shop when they're a teenager.
Or they just have this crippling anxiety and depression and suicidality. And
well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, well,
it's true.
It's
true. I know. I only see my two clowns, and they're just weirdos.
Yeah. All righty. Anything else that you can think of? I mean, we've covered so much.
No, I think we've covered. Yeah, we've beaten a lot of stuff into the ground here, but I think it really does come down for me, and kind of reflecting on this is, what am I trying to accomplish with the kids in that moment or on a broader scale? And am I doing the things that support that? That's really the simplified version of it, right? What am I trying to get out of this? And am I doing it in a way that I think is going to accomplish that? And if not, I gotta be strong enough to make a change, right? Like, it's really interesting to see how you fall into old ingrained habits that you were taught, not realizing it as you get older. And it's not unless you stop and go, I still don't like that, right? I don't want that. But very few people do. They get exasperated and they're tired, and there's a rationalization for why the change doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, the question is, are you going in the direction you want with you and your kids? And if not, what do you need to do to shift it?
And I think that goes back to our very first episodes. We talked about our values as parents, and that's kind of our guiding light to stay on the path of being the parents we want to be. So.
And that's going to change, right? The parent I am today is not the parent I thought I would be. I'm better in some ways. I'm not better in other ways, right? Like if you as a person are entitled to change and grow and be different, you have to give your kids the same ability and then help them. Yeah. That's it. And then you're not always going to get it right.
Yeah. Cool. Should probably wrap it up.
All right. Finger guns. And I'm out.
Good day.